Hello. I'm Interweb Studios, and in this video we ask Reddit what is the most disturbing post you have seen on Reddit. I am going to give you a warning that the stories described are quite graphic, and this video should only be watched for people mature enough to handle graphic content. You have been warned. Alright, do not tell me you have not been warned. Let's commence with this video. Probably the guy who did an entire verified Ask Me Anything about sleeping with his mom for years. I remember so much of it, but what stood out was someone asked, "Did you guys kiss during intercourse?" And he said, "Once, but it was weird." Yep. 'Cause that was the marker for weird. I've read that entire thread. So odd. The language he used, how he normalized it. So bizarre. Story was apparently verified by mods. Yeah. I used to laugh and find the post humorous, but as I've grown up I realized what a ducked up situation the guy was in. Molested from 14-year-old by his own mother, that he apparently had a girlfriend and was still having intercourse with his mother while dating her, that his mom and dad were getting off on the mutual knowledge that the mom was molesting their underage child, just a completely messed up situation that the guy unfortunately doesn't process as an intercourse crime because he normalized it from a young age. That video of that European, I believe guy, 16 who was jumping of a concrete edge into the sea. Catch is there's another concrete edge to jump over before you hit the water. Well, as it turns out, this guy slips before he jumps and hits the bottom concrete before the water face first, quite literally splitting his face open. In the video he's seen in the water of blood for a few seconds, then in a hospital where the doctors try to bring his face back together, guy still breathing. Although this isn't probably the worst, it stuck with me for a while. If you are interested, all you need to look up is face split concrete. More or less likely to find it in one of the posts, but caution if you're squeamish. The video is from Lebanon. He died the day after because the doctors didn't know what to do with him. This post, a girl wrote about her stepmom who didn't like her but told her this story about stranger danger. Basically, the stepmom and her friend were hiking in like the 70s or 80s and got lost. Some dude in a truck picks them up and offers to take them back to where they parked their car, but first he has to take a detour to his cabin and leaves them in the truck while he goes inside. The friend finds a bloody knife in the truck and they both get scared and nope the duck out of there on foot. Eventually they find their bearings and find the car, except the man's truck is there as well, but there's no sign of him at all. The friend wanted to bolt to the car and leave, the man wasn't there after all. But the stepmom said absolutely not and made them both wait for hours until it started to get dark. Then, as night was falling, they watched in horror as the man slithered out of the back of their car and left in his truck. He had been waiting in there for them for hours. I don't recall the post. It was years ago, but it was a good one. Edit. Take it all back, I just remembered the pit bull eating that guy's dick clean off. That reads like a creepypasta, to be honest. Saw a video of a guy running over a giant flock of birds, and the video ends with the birds being flattened in a giant mass. My mind is not letting me visualize it. The post by that guy in Canada who admitted to murdering his girlfriend and gave his whole side of the story as to why he did it and what led up to it. Everyone thought he was trolling, but it turned out to be real. He even fled to the US but eventually got caught. This one post I saw was about some catastrophic failure of an EV battery at some Chinese electric motorcycle business. In the beginning it looked like a normal day there, but in an instant this huge battery explodes, and not like a regular firework explosion. This thing was like a rocket blasting away at the only exit this building had. It looked hot as hell in there, as I'm pretty sure the CCTV camera began sliding down the wall like it was melting. The worst of it though were the screams of the poor workers during the chaos. You can hear them crying for help and gasping for air. I don't know the aftermath, but the heat plus battery toxins probably really messed them up bad. Absolutely tragic, and it totally ducked me up just thinking about them for a day or two. I definitely put back on the NSFW filter after that. This is a popular one that goes by Jason in Hell. In a nutshell, it was a guy who made a post about how to take action towards his cheating wife. He mentions how his wife would sext with their neighbor frequently and decided to announce it one night when the neighbor was over with his wife. The in-between part is a blur to me, but it ends with him trying to leave and take the kids with him, but the wife had already killed them and tried to kill herself. She called 911 and was uncomfortably calm about it. mentioning she killed the kids herself because she didn't want the husband to take them. I remember that. Those poor kids and the poor guy. He handled it remarkably well, and I hope he's managing okay now and she was brought to justice. How a mother can do that to her children, I'll never understand. Wasn't there even an aftermath, where her family denied him access to visit the children's graves and even stalked and threatened him, if he's trying to go there? Gosh, yes, you're right. I do recall reading that somewhere. Mind-boggling to think she possibly could pull that off. The guy whose son was pure evil. Would run around with knives, tried to kill his little sister. Eventually he went on a rampage and they had to lock themselves and their daughter in the basement until he eventually left and they never saw him again. No idea if he was dead or alive. Just complete end of contact. I think we are thinking about the same story. But the wife totally lost it one day and really kicked the shit out of the son. Like so much so they weren't sure if the kid might have died after he disappeared. That really ducked with me. So many layers of scary messed up shit. I forgot about the wife beating the shit out of him. Yeah, that story is wild. The thought that someone can be born so inhuman is frightening. Back when watch people was still a thing, I saw a post there of a dad and his small son, maybe no more than 4 or 5 years old. It was surveillance footage from the front of a store in what looked like China. The dad was waiting around for something in the front of the store while his son is playing around playfully hugging his dad's legs and hanging from them. He grabs his dad's legs from behind, dad loses balance, falls back and lands directly on his son's neck. Kid goes limp immediately. When I saw that video I had just recently become a father and holy shit, it ducking traumatized me. Anytime my kids hold onto my legs I immediately grab onto something stable. I don't remember exactly, but there was a post about a Spanish-speaking wife going into labor screaming at her husband to have the nurses give her medicine for the pain, but he wanted it to be a natural birth so wouldn't translate her cries of pain. She found out years later and was devastated. This is why most healthcare facilities have translation services on call, even if the family is bilingual, especially in OB cases. Yeah, that's pretty screwed up. I've been in that room and I wouldn't dream of doing anything other than whatever she wants in that moment. And people that croon on about natural birth can go jump off a cliff. The important thing is that it's safe. The baby doesn't know what kind of birth it had. There is no benefit to the mother being in as much pain as possible. The woman whose mother accidentally killed her own grandchild by not giving a duck about her coconut allergy. Didn't she do it intentionally as well just to prove it wasn't a real allergy? Sadly, yes. That's not exactly true. The grandma believed she was allergic but thought that since she was only putting the coconut oil in her hair, it was fine. When the kid complained, she gave her some Benadryl and sent her to bed instead of taking her to the hospital or calling the mom. Grandma was definitely negligent, but she wasn't trying to prove a point. Doesn't change the fact that she caused the death of her granddaughter. That's true, but she also had no rational basis behind this decision. Doctor never oked that. Mom explicitly said never to do it despite grandma bringing it up over and over again. It was definitely a "I know best" power play that backfired horribly. I still can't believe that the girl had an allergic reaction and that grandma's reaction was to give her Benadryl so she'd pass out and just leave the oil in her hair. That poor family. I read a post, maybe this sub, where the question was something like, people that almost got killed, what happened? This one guy told a story and shared pictures of his neighbor who was breaking into his house. His neighbor was lying in his garage behind some boxes just staring at him. I remember the full story and pictures kinda creeping me out. I've read a post where a guy was playing a game on his computer, and he was wearing noise-canceling headphones, so he couldn't hear his wife being raped downstairs for like 20 minutes. He randomly heard a sound that made him go downstairs, and saw the dude with a gun, raping his wife, while their daughter could only watch in horror. The guy grabbed a shotgun without being noticed and shot him, then carried his daughter outside. His neighbor had apparently heard the gunshot, and went and asked, "Did you just kill your wife?" ? No, I killed the man who was raping her. The post said that he still has panic attacks if he wears noise-canceling headphones. I wish I knew what the original post was so I could link it. A post on Am I the Asshole, which was about an 18-year-old girl who was offered a scholarship in the US by a couple of women who then took her passport and followed her everywhere. She was asking if she was an for demanding her passport back. Everyone was saying that she was likely being trafficked. It ended with her saying that the women were taking her to a dentist. I don't think she responded again and the post was removed. Just thinking about how dangerous that situation was and not knowing if she's even safe makes me feel sick every time I think about it. Just that poor girl. This time we can only hope that it was a troll post. I remember there was one in the marriage where the wife was getting creep vibes from her husband, and while he was out she was going through things and found a box of his hidden in the closet with little girl's underwear in it. I may be misremembering or combining details if I continue, but she was having a hard time feeling like her husband might be a pedophile and maybe molested children and not believing it, then trying to get advice on what to do about all of it. That one stuck with me even with all the sicko whacked out stuff on the internet. There was a post years ago about a couple that had been arrested for forcing children to hurt and maim small animals, and they'd record it. The descriptions of what they made those kids do absolutely shook me in a way that nothing else has. Have been searching for the article. Haven't been able to find it yet. It's 3 a.m., though, and I need to go back to bed. We'll keep looking as I have time. Old WPD forum. Skier hit the barricade and basically split in two and bled out. Saw a lot of worse videos, but this person being filmed dying from an accident during competition really bothered me. Dude just died from doing something he practiced a million times and was world class at. Made me realize you really can go at any time. People tried to help, but there was nothing they could do. Made me sad to think what was going through each of their minds at those last moments and the lifelong trauma associated in trying to help poor guy there. Another depressing realization in that helping others can really duck you up. If you have made it to the end of the video, in which I believe that many people have not, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe, and until next time. Toodles.